attending music class. This just because of the fact knowing that the all ages of 15 or 17 are allowed to play music during the program. It might be held tomorrow, but precisely I cannot be live on that day. The major cause that most people might have tends to feel upset about something that most people shouldn't be doing. The place will be held in Flushing. Starting as of Sunday, I might be leaving to a weightlifting trip. It starts at 8:30 possibly. By the time I get there, all the buses will be packed. Every student that takes up a different bunch of materials may now get access to that security room. It provides a key through that one specific code. There wasn't a major denial from the teacher and principal's aspects. Through their own perspectives, we can now assure you that not many single adults could be treated with unfairness. The kind heart that puts out into your mind can really be upsetting. Because what if they try to hurt you more? Do you think they can allow bullies to go inside through that one building? No, they would not have that. Just to clarify something that most people shouldn't have. When we start to feel negative about bullying, then the teacher might say that they shouldn't accept anyone to those who try to outlaw someone that takes upon yourself. And starting as of next week, I might be holding a show which takes place at our school. I might do a presentation on stage, but you guys better watch me do a full slide on that thing because it's a 8-part show. We will present the slides just to show all of my hard work that I've completed. I haven't been live since 3 days. It's so sad to see everybody here. But typically, I'm not. I just want to give you all an update. It doesn't really have to be that negative. Although, you might have to be with one thing to another. Yes, we can see you. So, as I said before, I might be having a session soon, but it won't happen until possibly next week or so. Since after school practice, all of my friends are going crazy. Yeah, I'm sure. And basically, they start fooling around. Some are some of my friends don't even listen because whenever I transition from LIC to our school and then to Queen's Innovation Center, all the rooms were packed and some of the stairs can be that long. It's not even that deep. Some people might have to go through one step and then another step, and then yeah, typically it's basically traditional. Bye, Angel. And then here's another thing I want to present. When I feel confused about the person that tries to sneak up on me, they might face a concussion through one person or another. They sometimes might feel act up, crazy or not, but precisely they might need to get a lot more attention through each student. And every time they don't listen, the teachers might yell at them. Even though they try to hit someone, it's not that fair. Emmanuel, good to see you. So, I want to present something that I don't really like. It's really fascinating. I just want to show you proof. Alright, so, sometimes when people go to a weight room, all they must have is an equipment bar. What they try to do is they need to get their legs and arms straight in order for them to do squats or even like deadlifting and all that stuff. We had to take a walk from our school to QIC. It's like a 3 to 4 hour walk, I believe. But whenever we walk there, somebody almost got into a car crash. And typically, they are safe. So, what we planned to do was we tried to look out for situations that can literally identify a person who tries to uh, feel in an uncertain way because not everybody has a fair chance like on getting hurt. It is not personally fun for everyone based on getting hit by a car. Sometimes when one people say there's a car out of the way, what should they do? Well, they could just change the signal. And perhaps mostly other people can't even recognize that some signals can be important as to one thing or another. It is really the difference between the walking signal and the traffic signal. So some parts of New York City and many other states, they can realize what was important based on how they drive. And by the end of this title, I can realize that I can take some music lessons. I literally just met some of my friends who are able to do music. So it will be take part of Flushing. And the music teacher told us that everybody should have been participated during that time. And, you know, I realized something that most people can handle instruments that are made out of wood, something that is plastic, you know, most likely holding a xylophone. Welcome back, Angel. Uh, the reason I want to tell you this is that maybe one day you can be a part of the band, and you can just find a stage to perform with, and you just end up being as a better singer, so that the audience can cheer for you. But if they don't, they can start yelling at the people who tries to hate their music because of the album, right? It can be copyrighted, but none of these people should have made a inappropriate music, because what did they try to outrage people? Nobody can do that for fun, you know? It just literally affects their behavior. I mean, who wouldn't try? But it still counts to everyone here. I already said hi to you, Angel. You can't just repeat it twice. Remember the rules. No spamming here. Otherwise, we will time you out. Because if you already spammed for like the third time already, I wouldn't be able to hear from you. Scotty, good to see you. Yeah, I've been just discussing about the upcoming music lessons, the competition of the weightlifting stuff, and many more, because I literally have to participate in that. Otherwise, I might fail. Uh, my total points today was 135 points of the weight competition. I'm so strong that my muscles keep growing and growing. I'm good, Scotty. Thank you so much for asking. The reason why I've been strong enough is I can put more weight onto that bar. You know, sometimes when one people tries to carry a bar and the other person tries to carry the weights, what they do is they had to lock it. But they don't have to do it that early. Otherwise, they could mess up the competition and start to lose easily. So we might cheer for them, we might clap for them, and many others as well. We can thank our leaders, the officers, and many others as well. Jesus loves me? Well, thank you. Sometimes people had to go to church as well. As the Bible said, that Jesus is the true and loving God. I mean, I read the Bible twice, but sometimes when it comes to praying, all we can do is please God. All right? So, sometimes when people drive to the church, the pastor said that everybody has to be on time in order to start reading the Bible and acknowledging their Bible verses. Is somehow refuse to give up and start answering the questions right away before they start to read the Bible, they can stay state that position and move on. You know, when one kid tries to be like a 9-year old, they say, "Well, God isn't a true peace to everyone," but that's not true. God is God, right? We always say our lovingly uh, heaven to most people because they ask random questions about Emmanuel, uh, Esther, Job, and yeah, many others as well. Yesterday was St. Patrick's Day, right? So I made a short that was like a few days ago. And some of you guys might represent that holiday just to understand how one people can celebrate luck. And it is by making God feel happy. And sometimes, whenever we step onto something that is right, we can trust them. Yeah, the leprechaun believes that St. Patrick's Day is the name of St. Patrick because they can literally identify their name. You know how rainbows appear through one sky. All you can see is a pot of gold. When they turn coins into chocolates, you can eat them. Sometimes they can be real gold or not. You literally might recognize that gold coins are like edible. But personally, it's not. You can tell the difference whether if it's real or not. Fake objects can be real though. But sometimes they can make a recreation out of it by having one owner and one employee do the exact opposition from one job to another task that they both have been success on. That way, they can do more stuff, and sometimes, well, gold is not metal, but it can be, whether if it's candy or not. I mean, it's a fair point that gold can be something that is made out of, right? Uh, you know, at one point, it can be as metal or not, but we can look up a dictionary based on how everything can be changed. Yeah, I mean, if yeah, it's true. Gold is metal, and they can change different colors as well. But here's the difference, though. Silver can be metal as well, but they're exactly the same. Typically, at one point when silver and gold was usually made, it came from factories as well. But the owner decides to make something that is really shiny, they can put a gold bar, which now represents of luck, wishes, and maybe something can be like money, for example. Because when you do your jobs fairly, they provide us with gold. Not everything can be turned into something new, but it's fair. When you get a job someday, you might think that everything can be turned into gold. Sometimes silver is another option. Not all colors are different though. They can be the same. Okay, anyways, back to my topic. I remember these days when people start to fail music and they say, well, it's not that optional though. Sometimes students can give up easily. by affiliation with playing with the trombone and the coordination. They can provide saxophones as well. They can actually help out with aluminum foil. What we done or accomplished this year is that not everybody can have a fair chance. You can just say something more than fun, but it's literally a good thing to everyone else. We can assure you that gold can be turned into anything. Drums are like music, for example. You can really tell the difference between hard sound and low sound. On each instrument, they can provide some random notes. If you're playing a mariachi, you can really tell the difference between listening from a music book or something like that. If you want to play a guitar, all you must do is hold the guitar properly and make sure that the sound of the guitar works properly. If not, they can sound a little bit wonky, which means that it cannot be played normally. What you can do is fix the strings. Maybe sometimes they can have it played again. But sometimes you need to take responsibility of the instruments that you have at home. Whether if one people decides to play something rather than just playing with the xylophone, they can just take it away and start handing out new stuff. So that way it doesn't really have to be discouraged by anyone. You know, sometimes when people used to sing, they need microphones. It can provide to hear your singing tone. This is why we use music since long time ago. Music wasn't exist back then. But now they can tune it to Spotify and many other apps they can hear through each song of their own. If they don't provide with a record, then how can they supposed to hear? Well, they use a coordination. This is why we need to take music classes for everyone. That is the age of 16, 19, and 20-year olds. Some of these children that are young can be able to use toys. As we grew older, we still have devices. I remember when I was a kid, I don't have a devices back then. I still only use something like a laptop. When I get into kindergarten, the teacher told us to move to different class and start reading there. As soon as I graduate from that school, start going to middle school. And then at this point in the time, we studied about engineering and all those types of compartment that most people have to be acknowledged in. All those teachers were really not instructed based on how people might tend to feel. They can be angry, bothered, and sometimes not selfish. Whenever I talk to a teacher who starts getting into trouble, saying that they would call my parents, not knowing that those troublemakers were acting up poorly. So then they went up to the principal's office to discuss the issue of the student and why we didn't encounter that way. As soon as I get out of that place, I now tend to attend a high school where everybody gets to join. I have a lot more friends and a lot more education for everybody that I can barely talk to any one of them. They still don't get into trouble unless it's unless if one people did, then that wouldn't be fun to anyone. This is called discouragement. The understatement of one person's legacy is by affecting their mental cultures to everyone's aspect. The recap of St. Patrick's Day was taken back every single now and year, which was 1 year ago, 2 years ago, and even 5 years ago. That was insane. Not everybody has to wear green, but they like to do the opposite color of their own clothing. I remember these days that parties were held in school. Not every single student can dance in the hallway. They like to go to the gym and dance there. For prom and many other traditional days that can happen this year. Starting as of July 3rd, I may now have to attend the summer youth program. I still couldn't resist based on how teachers might feel, but I still couldn't leave the class since I had to stay in my whole entire ADL classroom for the whole entire year. I felt so heartwarming, and being as a office worker can really tends to feel the opposite, right? Whenever I start working at two new places or the ones that I've already been since 3 weeks, the coach tell us that everybody should do their own task first before they start doing the new step. Everybody has to do the same task over and over again until we decide to quit. As of right now, and as of Thursday, I might be doing something more than different. Okay, so here's the proof. I went to a trip with all of my Long Island City high school friends, and even the friends that came from Queens Innovation Center have now been accessed to getting a bus. some of these professionals are like team members or coaches that can really help them move properly. Within the Special Olympics Unified Sports, we now agree that it is our sport and our team that can help us win. If I cannot win, we keep trying our best. Long time ago, Special Olympics Unified Sports didn't exist back then. But now they made a YouTube channel about it based on how athletes can do based on how attendees were feeling. The person that came from specific areas or many different parts of the school building that you guys have been visited were new to them. If you have a day off from work or school, you can really understand that the idea was beneficial to all of you. The help of us may now be in success to every single person that can really help out. So now you know what it feels like being as an Olympics champion. You know what I'm saying, right? I'm talking about the not champion. The competition that I've been practicing for this week and next week. It's like a type of event that I'm going to be doing for the next 2 to 3 years. And it's fun for every student that came from many different areas that are part of New York. And by the end of this week, we will still be practicing our exercises like weightlifting, bench pressing, and many others as well. This is why we had to do everything that we can do so we can stand strong and united. Practicing makes more fun. When our coaches tell us that we must do every single project that we have accomplished so far, they can put it into the website so that everybody has a fair chance based on how many people can start practicing their movement, based on how many people can practice within their own abilities. Okay? Their accomplishments can be taken part as our athletes. We can now stand within our nation that the US is our state. I remember these days that not all students can do their own simple work, but we decided to plan out as something as usual. This is a time where one people starts to meet the city hawks of this school. And now, the accomplishments that you guys made so far were the best. We inspire many and many people throughout their daily lives. Within the help that you guys shared is really beneficial and protect our health. Thank you guys. so much for being part in this dream and helping us win to achieve something that you guys should have been. This award is not only for us, it only is for you. Subscribe and we'll see you next time. I'll be live very soon. But maybe as of tomorrow. We'll see.